A father's words can linger in the heart like a melody from childhood, sometimes sweet, sometimes haunting, always unforgettable. Imagine a daughter, grown but not invulnerable, sitting at her window as dusk settles outside, a stack of letters pressed between her trembling fingers. These are not mere pieces of paper. They are years, hopes, regrets, and love, all carefully inked onto lined pages by the hand of her father. Tonight, these letters will make her weep until dawn, not because they are cruel or cold, but because they are honest, vulnerable, and filled with the quiet ache that only fathers know. Fathers do not always cry in the open. Their tears, when they come, are often hidden behind closed doors, in the shadows of long nights, or tucked between the sentences of letters never meant to wound, only to reach. In Kwame Alexander's 2023 memoir, Why Fathers Cry at Night, the author lays bare the truth of fatherhood, that love is sometimes clumsy, sometimes silent, and sometimes found in the spaces between words. Alexander's story, woven from poems, memories, and remembrances, reminds us that the letters a father writes are not just confessions. They are bridges built toward understanding. Even when the river between parent and child runs deep, the daughter reads the first letter. It is dated from a winter when she was still young, her fears small and her world full of promise. Her father writes about watching her sleep, about the flutter of her eyelids as if she were chasing dreams he could never see. He admits his fears of not being enough, of making the wrong choices, of failing to protect her from the world's sharpest edges. He shares, in halting phrases, how he once believed that strength meant silence, that real men do not cry, especially in front of their daughters. But then, he confesses, he learned that tears are not weakness, but honesty, that holding back emotion builds walls, while sharing it builds trust. The daughter's tears fall, silent and steady, as she realizes how much of her father's love was hidden, not from her, but from himself. The next letter is angrier. It was written during her teenage years, when rebellion was her shield and sarcasm her sword. The words are jagged, the handwriting rushed. He writes about the arguments that left the house echoing with slammed doors, and the silence that followed, heavy as lead. He confides that he felt helpless, watching the child he once held in his arms become a stranger. He admits to saying things he regrets, to letting pride win over patience. But the letter does not end in anger, it ends in hope. "I am learning to listen," he writes. "I am learning to see you as you are, not as I wish you to be." The daughter sobs, remembering the years she thought her father was distant, not knowing he was fighting his own private battles for connection and understanding. As she turns the pages, the letters shift in tone. Some are filled with quiet joy, stories of family dinners, inside jokes, the warmth of everyday moments. Others are marked by loss, the death of a grandparent, the unraveling of her father's marriage, the struggle to stay present when grief threatened to pull him under. In one letter, her father shares a memory of his own father, a man who rarely spoke of love, but showed it in the way he fixed a broken bike or sat silently at the edge of a soccer field. "I wish I could have told him how much he meant to me," her father writes. "I wish I had learned sooner that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real." The daughter clutches the letter to her chest, feeling the ache of generations trying, and sometimes failing, to say what matters most. In another letter, her father writes about the night she left for college. He describes the emptiness of the house, the echo of her laughter in rooms suddenly too large. He admits he walked past her bedroom door, wanting to knock, wanting to say, "I love you," one more time, but afraid the words would sound too small for the moment. Instead, he writes, he sat in the darkness and cried, real, unashamed tears, for the little girl he missed, and the young woman he hoped would never forget her way home. The daughter's tears mingle with his, crossing the years and the miles, binding them in a shared sorrow and hope. The most recent letters are different. They are quieter, more reflective. Her father writes about aging, about the regrets that come with time, about the things he wishes he could change. He apologizes for not always being present, for letting work and worry steal away precious hours. He thanks her for her patience, her forgiveness, her courage in facing the world with kindness. He shares recipes, simple dishes that remind him of his own childhood and the meals they once made together. In the margins, he writes small notes. Add extra garlic if you like. Don't forget to taste as you go. Cooking is like love. It's okay to make mistakes. The daughter reads these words and cries, not just for what was lost, but for what was found. She realizes that the letters are not just about a father's love for his daughter, but about a man's struggle to love himself. In Kwame Alexander's memoir, the act of writing becomes an act of healing, a way for fathers to say the things they never learned to say aloud. The daughter understands now that her father's tears, hidden for years, were never a sign of failure, but of deep, enduring love. As dawn breaks, the daughter gathers the letters and holds them close. She thinks of the fathers who cry at night, not out of weakness, but out of longing, regret, and love too fierce to contain. She thinks of all the ways parents and children miss each other, speaking in words that never quite reach, hoping that one day they will be understood. She remembers the meals shared, the arguments forgiven, the silences that said more than words ever could. In the quiet morning light, she finds a new letter, unfinished, its ending waiting to be written. It is her turn now to reply, to build the bridge her father started, to meet him halfway with her own honesty and hope. She realizes that love is a conversation that never truly ends, a letter passed from one generation to the next, always unfinished, always full of possibility. The story of a father's letters that made his daughter cry all night is not just a story of sorrow, but of healing. It is about the courage it takes to be vulnerable, to admit fear and failure, to reach across the chasm of misunderstanding with hands trembling but open. It is about the lessons passed down, not just in words, but in the spaces between them. It is about learning that strength lies not in silence, but in truth. Not in perfection, but in the willingness to try, to forgive, to begin again. Fathers cry at night because they care, because they remember, because they hope. Their tears are not a burden, but a gift, a sign that love, however imperfect, endures. In reading her father's letters, the daughter finds not just the man he was, but the man he is becoming. Braver, softer, more willing to share the parts of himself he once thought were best hidden. She sees, at last, that the walls between them were never as high as they seemed, and that every letter, every tear, was a step toward understanding. The letters become a map, guiding her through the landscape of her own heart. She remembers the nights she cried alone, the times she felt misunderstood, the moments she wished her father would just say what he felt. Now, she sees that he was trying, in his own way, to reach her. That every awkward sentence, every apology, every recipe scribbled in the margins was a way of saying, "I love you, I am proud of you, I am here." She thinks of all the fathers who struggle to find the right words, who worry that they have failed, who sit awake at night wishing they could turn back time. She wishes they could know that their efforts matter, that their children remember not just the mistakes, but the gestures of love, the letters, the meals, the silent support. She hopes that more fathers will find the courage to write, to speak, to let their children see the tears they have hidden for too long. As the day begins, the daughter feels lighter, her sorrow transformed into gratitude. She knows that her father's letters will not erase the pain of the past, but they will help her carry it more gently. She resolves to write her own letters, to her father, to her future children, to herself. To say the things that matter before it is too late. To build bridges, not walls. To remember that love, in all its messy, imperfect glory, is worth every tear. In the end, a father's letters are more than memories. They are a legacy of vulnerability, a testament to the power of honesty. They teach us that it is never too late to reach out, to forgive, to begin again. They remind us that the words we struggle to say are often the ones that matter most. And in the quiet hours, when the world is still, they give us permission to cry, to feel, to hope, to heal. So, if you have a letter to write, a word to say, a tear to shed, do it now. Do not wait for the perfect moment or the right words. Write from the heart. Speak with courage. Love fiercely. For in the end, it is not the silence that we remember, but the letters, the stories, the apologies, the recipes, the remembrances that bring us home to each other again and again. Let the tears come, let the letters be read, let the bridges be built, one word at a time. For in the act of reaching, of hoping, of loving, we become the parents, the children, the people we were always meant to be. And in the quiet of the night, as dawn approaches, we find that the tears we shed are not just for what was lost, but for what was found. Connection, forgiveness, and the promise of a love that endures, even when words fail. Remember the lesson hidden in those midnight letters. A father's tears are not a sign of despair, but of devotion. They are an invitation to see, to listen, to love without reservation. And as the sun rises, the daughter knows she is not alone. Her father's words will guide her, comfort her, and remind her that the bonds between parent and child, though tested by time and distance, are never truly broken. They are written, letter by letter, in the language of the heart.